Bonjour à tous. Aujourd'hui, pour Armes Légion, j'ai l'opportunité d'interviewer Rino Masic, champion du monde et champion d'Europe de bras de fer sportif, quatrième au classement du East versus West, la plus prestigieuse des compétitions. L'interview avec Rino Masic, c'est tout de suite sur Armes Légion. Rino Dobardan.
Dobar dan. Hello.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank you for agreeing this interview. So I try to remember the first time I heard about you, and I think it was in 2022 or 2023 at the European Championship. You were 19 or something like this, and you managed to win both right and left hand title. So I wanted to know, how did you start arm wrestling basically, and how and when did you understand that you were gifted for this sport?
Well, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here, and I'm always happy to help you out or to give you an interview for your page. And I love what you're doing. I started arm wrestling when I was around 13 years old. I never really knew 100% that I was for this sport or that I had like some genetic gifts or whatever. But I knew that I wanted to be good at something when I was young. I always aspired to be good at something, and the first thing that I started with were video games, and I was always playing some first-person shooters and something like this, and I tried to be the best that I can, but it didn't really work out. And then I tried doing some other sports, and I got into arm wrestling by chance because my family from my dad's side actually started up one of the first arm wrestling clubs in Croatia.
Okay.
And they have a long history of arm wrestling in Croatia. And my uncle and my father and my grandfather and my grandmother were all arm wrestlers back in the day, and they were really, really good. And they kind of got me into the sport. And then I tried it out a little bit for myself. And, I instantly liked it. I started watching Devon, as most beginners do.
Yes, of course.
And he was one of my biggest inspirations at that time. And my mentor, Andrea Šimić, actually helped me a lot to understand how training works a lot better, like progressive overload and all that stuff. And then I was able to apply that to some specific arm wrestling lifts, and that's how I actually started to grow. And I was constantly improving, trying to get my program and my exercises even better and better suited for myself.
Yes, of
And
course.
that's kind of how I started off and improved and got to where I am right now.
Yeah. Which year was your first international tournament?
First international tournament was 2019.
19, okay, yeah.
Zagreb Strong.
Okay.
Strong. That's the first ever that I attended.
Okay. Recently, there is the European Championship, and you won the left-hand title this year in a very stacked category. There is a lot of very good athletes, such as Jordan, Sandris, and many other. How do you feel this competition? What was your feelings?
It was incredible. I mean, when I saw the names that were in my class and that were attending the European Championships this year, I was very excited, a little bit nervous, as always. It might not seem that I'm nervous when I'm, around the stage and on the stage, but I'm always a little bit nervous. And yeah, it was incredible. I mean, the category of 110 kilos. Senior men left and right hands was incredible, and I think it was one of, if not the strongest category of the whole tournament. I mean, I'm not saying that because, I'm not saying that because I was in that class, but I think it was very, very stacked, as you said, and very difficult to be even in the top 8. We saw, I mean, some phenomenal guys dropping before the top 8. So that just tells you how difficult the class was, and it was super interesting to watch, and had a lot of fun. But the right hand could have performed a little bit better, but it's not bad.
On the right hand, you were recovering from an injury. That's right.
Yes, from an injury that happened like a year and a half ago,
Okay.
almost 2 years now.
Yeah.
And yeah, that injury is still prevalent, and it's causing me some issues. And I also had one injury to my wrist when I was training. It's totally random. Like I didn't feel anything before it. I was feeling good. I was doing my regular back pressure move, and my riser just dropped like out of nowhere, and I felt some pain, and I heard some crack in my wrist. But you know, it still hasn't passed. But it's not too bad that I can that I can train.
Did you feel some pain during the competition, or you managed to do what you wanted to do on the table?
So I was coming into the competition more with a mindset of just like, I'm going to test my right hand out. I don't want to injure myself any further. I just want to see where I am right now. And I didn't really expect even to be in the top three. So, I did feel some pain, but in certain areas, as soon as I, turned the battle into a hook, then I can kind of avoid the pain as much as possible. Because the injury that I have prevents me from keeping my hand in the middle of my body and using my shoulders, so I can't press really well and flop wrist press as well. That's kind of the biggest issue, and that was
which is one of your most dominant style, press and so on.
Absolutely, yes, and that's what caused me the most of my issues, was that inability to keep my hand in the middle of my body and use my shoulder to kind of redirect a little bit of the force of my opponent into my shoulder. So I had to go everything through my bicep, and it was not too bad, honestly. I just had to change my style a little bit, and I think I should be good.
Yeah, I saw. In this category, there is one athlete that performed very well, and this is Basho, basically. He did very well. You fought him 2 years ago at King of the Table, if I remember well. You managed to beat him at this time. What did it like to beat him this time?
Yeah, Baccio is incredible. He's improving every year, of course, and he has a phenomenal path ahead of him, and he's an incredible athlete as well. That day he was just stronger than me. I didn't come in prepared well enough, of course, and then that's something that I'm planning to change for the World Championships, and I hope to at least give him a better fight. But yeah, that day on the European Championships, he was simply better and stronger than me in that area, and he was able to actually very technically well execute a certain technique to really pull me out of my position and beat me in a dominant fashion.
And is it a rematch that you would like to have against him, because you are two young pullers that are very, very strong and dominant in the sport? Actually, it is a challenge that you are looking for, or?
Yes, I mean, having a rematch with him in a tournament-style arm wrestling like World Championships, yes. But now having a super match with him, I'm not so sure about that. Maybe in the future when I feel a little bit healthier. But right now, super match arm wrestling for me personally is just a lot more riskier than tournament-style pulling. The rules are a little bit less strict, which allows you, of course, to watch the match, and it's a lot more interesting. But also, it allows you to get injured a little bit more easily, and people over there are a lot stronger as well than at World Championships. Yeah, I mean, having a rematch with him would be good, but on the World Championship stage, not on East versus West or anywhere else.
Okay, very interesting. We are talking about super matches. You perform very well at East versus West several times. Which opponents give you the more difficulties to work with?
Which opponent was most difficult for me?
Yes, of course, yeah.
I would definitely have to say Sagov and Matyushenko obviously gave me the most amount of troubles, but Baccio as well. every single one of those matches, it was like an endurance war. It was trying to figure out what to do in a certain scenario. That's what kind of was the most difficult part for me with Sagov. Once I figured out how to kind of work around his press, then I was able to win a little bit more confidently, even though he beat me in the in the sixth round for 3-3. But someone who definitely gave
amazing match.
Thank you very much. But definitely one of the more difficult guys that I fought was Ivan Matyushenko. But it was difficult just because I had a wrong view of how to approach that match. You know, I was still kind of, I think that was my second super match or my third, I can't remember exactly. But coming into that match, I had a mindset of like tournament style arm wrestling, where I was just trying to flash pin him as soon as possible, not get tired out, and kind of get into my position and whatnot. But that was something that was the wrong approach, and I realized that after the match when I lost. So I think that day I could have at least given him a better match. If not, maybe I could have won, but that's maybe far-fetched a little bit. But I learned a lot from that match, and that's one of my hardest ones for sure.
Yeah, of course. And would you say that you are stronger on the left or on the right in general?
So before my injury, I was actually completely the same on the left and right hand. Yeah. Now I'm obviously stronger on the left, as it's not injured and it's a lot more healthy than the right hand.
Okay. Do you have a game plan when you fight in a super match like this, or do you adapt to your opponent the day and the match when it begins? How do you manage to prepare the match?
So there are maybe like three scenarios that I usually go through. So one is researching my opponent, and if I know what my opponent is doing, then I try to kind of think of ways that I can counter his move. Second scenario is that I don't know what my opponent is doing. For some reason, he's not posting on social media or somewhere, and I can't find maybe some good matches to see what he's doing. Then I approach the match with a completely clear mind, and I just try to do my strongest move. And then afterwards, if the match stops, then I start thinking what to do. And the third scenario is maybe I start with my most strongest move, then I stop in the match and maybe I lose or win, and then I start thinking about strategies, what to do, what doesn't suit him very well. Does he need more center, like side to side center, or this front to back center? And these little things matter a lot, and that's how I usually approach super matches.
Very interesting. Yeah. Recently, the French community asked me some question. You faces some of them recently. One of them is Alan Barberis, our French national champ. You fought him at the European Championship. It was 1 week ago, I think, on the right hand.
Yeah.
Did you know him, and were you surprised by the strength he was able to put on the table?
I did know Alan before I fought him, but I saw his match with Bastian on the Nationals when they had that impressive match. That's where I recognized him from, but we never actually spoke, which is a shame. He's a great guy. We spoke a little bit afterwards. Of course, I was surprised. First of all, his match with Sanders was incredible. He was so close to beating him. And that's where I think he maybe lost some of his power, and that's why he maybe couldn't give 110% of himself with me when we fought together. He was probably a little bit tired out, but still, despite that, he was able to really give me some trouble. I wasn't able to move him from the center. His hook is incredible. He only needs a little bit of finishing power, and then he'll be very, very good and a very formidable opponent who will cause a lot of trouble in the 110 kilo class for sure.
Yes. The other French guy that all the community is looking for is Aymeric Pradine, our president. He fought Matt Mask at the last East versus West on left hand, and he dominates him pretty well.
Yes.
You managed to beat him 2 years ago at the European Championship. It will be a match we would like to see again. And in your opinion, will you be able to beat him again, or it will be more close?
I think Emerick has leveled up a lot from the previous years that I fought against him. That is, we had only one match in the finals of the European Championships. For sure, it would be a lot more difficult now. I mean, I spoke to him, and he looks to be in a very good shape, at least with his left hand.
Yeah.
And I think my approach would definitely have to be a bit different. He would be more experienced. He would know what are my strengths and what are my weaknesses. He would definitely try to, use that against me. He's a smart puller. He knows how to pull very well. So my approach would probably have to be utilizing some of my strengths from the flop wrist press and press. That would probably be my main weapons, and probably the hook as well. I doubt I can top roll him. He has a very good hand and wrist.
Yes.
So I would try to get the match to an inside battle, bicep on bicep, and then maybe I would be able to work from there a little bit better. But yeah, it would be a lot different from that match that we had 2 years ago.
Yes, of course. And in which category could it happen?
In the 115 kilo class. I'm not really planning on losing too much weight. I do want to lose some weight because I want to look a little bit better, a little bit sharper, but not too much. Maybe 110 would be my lowest that I would go.
Okay. A last question for you, Rino. If you have one advice to tell to a young puller who wants to start arm wrestling, what would you say?
Ooh, that's a very good question. There's so much that I can tell someone, but one advice that I would give them, it would probably be a few things packed into one kind of advice package. So it would be, think for yourself and don't let the big arm wrestlers with a big platform on social media influence you too much. I see that too much in our community, that people do exercises from guys that are at the top of our sport who have been arm wrestling for years and years, and they try to replicate some exercises that they found out that that those exercises suit them like way later in their career. So stick to the basics. Build up your bicep, your back pressure, your wrist. Those are the most important things. And then work on accessories like supination, pronation, and everything else later on. Have a good base that you can stand on and then build from there.
Okay. Thank you very much, Rino. And
no problem. It was a pleasure.
It was a pleasure. I will put all your links on the description. If you want to follow Rino, don't hesitate. Okay. And thank you very much for coming. See you guys.
No problem.